What's up, beautiful people? What's up? It's the host of Inside the Trenches, Marlon Favorite, and I'd like to welcome y'all to Five with Fave. Five with Fave, we talk about 5 interesting topics around sports and entertainment. It could be whether it's my 5 favorite movies, 5 favorite teams for the 2024 season, whatever it is, it's Five with Fave. And this segment is powered by Small Sliders. Small Sliders, 1635 Barataria Boulevard, Marrero, Louisiana. Join us at Small Sliders weekly. We do our remotes there. We come on live on ESPN New Orleans here locally in New Orleans, 100.3 FM. And, we have fun over there. The food is good. You know, some of the best burgers in town, and you can bring your family and friends out there. But today's Five with Fave, I wanted to keep it local, right? I want to talk Saints. This is going to be a very interesting year for the New Orleans Saints. You have Coach Dennis Allen in his first few years as a head coach there, shaping together his team, trying to make the best decisions. Last year wasn't the best season for the Saints, but this year they do have a very interesting segment. So for this Five with Fave, we're going to go over the top 5 games. This is what I feel like the top 5 games for the 2024 football season. Y'all can tweet me at BigFave504 or X, should I say, formerly known as Twitter. You could hit me up on there. You could check us out here on the New Orleans Talk Network. We're streaming there. Feel free to go to my YouTube. You could type in Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on YouTube. Feel free to like and subscribe to the page. We'll have all the shorts from this show on there. Try to get as much on there as possible. And, of course, you guys can like and share and subscribe to both pages, New Orleans Talk Network as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Number 5 on this list of what I feel like this football season is going to be the best games for the Saints. Like, as a fan, you're watching this team play, and it's had some cashews. Sorry for my viewers. I was eating some cashews earlier, and one came out. Oh, I have a napkin right here. So you have, I think number 5 on this list is the Vegas game, the Las Vegas game, for a number of reasons. It's not so much about the Raiders having this big dog roster, but I do think they're an interesting team, and I do think this will be a nice matchup. For obvious reasons, it's like Derek Carr playing his old team. That's one of the reasons I find very appealing about this game. But I do think in first full-time head coach, last year, remember Coach Antonio Pierce took over in the middle of the season after they made an abrupt fire of Coach McDaniels. So I do feel like he is going to be an interesting story this year in the league. I think he is shaping his roster together to where he's building the offensive line. They drafted in the second round Jackson Powers. You look at from the quarterback position, you have Gardner Minshew listed as a starter, but I don't know if that's an area maybe. And there's Aiden Akano as well. Like I said, the room isn't flashy. It isn't a pretty room. Andrews Pete also plays the Saints again. Well, plays against the Saints for the first time. This is a guy that we've drafted here in the first round. So, yeah, it does have a lot of storylines behind it. You do have a receiving core that has potential. You still have Devontae Adams. At one point, Devontae Adams was a top dog receiver in this league. And, you know, that last year he had with Derek Carr and then the year after, and of course the emergence of Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, so on and so forth. But their receiving core, to say the least, is interesting, right? But it depends on what Gardner Minshew is able to do. But defensively, I mean, they got Max Crosby, so that's going to be a big test for the Saints offensive line. And I just really feel deep down inside that will be a really nice game to watch. Now, this for the fans, baby. This Five with Fave for the fans. These are the games, like, all right, if you want, even if you somewhat like the Saints and you don't watch all their games, you're not local like us, and you want to chime in on some games, these are the games to watch this year. Now, that game is later on in the year. It's going to be the Christmas game. It comes on Christmas Eve, so that'll be fun. Nice game to watch. And, of course, it's going to be on the day before Christmas, so hopefully it's a treat to everybody, especially here. Hopefully at that point, the Saints doing exceptionally well and cruising through to the playoffs. All right, so number 4 on my list is the Kansas City Chiefs. They play the Chiefs October 7th. Now, why I like this? Because the Chiefs, year in and year out, you could trust them to be a good team. So if that game is super competitive for the Saints at that time, I think that'll be a good watch. Just looking at the Chiefs team, you have Patrick Mahomes. This team is trying to three-peat for to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. Going into the season, I know we're approaching the season, but you have Xavier Worthy. What type of player is he going to be for them? Their first-round draft pick. He's a speedster. You got Hollywood Brown. We know everything going on with Rashid Rice, and you got Sky Moore. They have the receiving corps straight, and of course the best hands out of all the pass catchers is Travis Kelce. His reliable weapon. That's why I am really interested in seeing how this team is going to match up against the Saints. It's going to be a good watch. The Swifties, they got the Swifties in the building. So the ratings are going to be high. It's going to be a good watch, especially if, that storyline is going to be a thing again next football season. But I like the matchups as well. I like to see a Hollywood Brown and a Xavier Worthy, match up against a Parson Adebo or a Lattimore. And or if we have, I don't know what type of playing time at this point Kool-Aid is going to be getting or where they're going to have him playing. So I like our DBs versus their receiving core. And that game is number 4 on my list. If y'all are just checking this out, this is 5 with Fave, where we talk about my 5 favorite stories around sports and entertainment. Right now, we just so happen to check out 5 games off the Saints' schedule. I think will be the best watches for you guys. If you feel different, if you feel like there's another game that I didn't mention, definitely feel free to hit me up on X at BigFave504. I would love to hear y'all's feedback and what games you feel like will be the best games coming up this season for the Saints to watch. Number 3 on my list, and I don't know, I'll put it to y'all like this. No matter how bad both teams are doing or how good both teams are doing, the Saints versus the Falcons are always going to be a big-time game. And I picked the second matchup for number 3 because I don't care if Atlanta won the game. I don't care if New Orleans won the game. If New Orleans won the first one, right, and let's say, for instance, and then again, the second one is a home game. The first one is on the road. We go to Atlanta, the first matchup, September 29th, but they come to us. So let's say, for instance, the Saints beat them on the road. Y'all know Atlanta going to bring it, right? And the Atlanta's roster is an interesting story as well. Of course, the big storyline behind them is Kirk Cousins, and then, of course, Atlanta drafted Michael Penix Jr., and why would you spend all of that money on a quarterback and you just pay Kirk Cousins a boatload of money? That's one heck of an insurance policy, right? Well, a couple things to look at when you take a look at this Atlanta matchup, and I'll get into why I feel like the second matchup could be a blockbuster matchup, should I say. Okay, so you have Drake London, you have Darnell Mooney from Tulane. He played out at Chicago as well, and you have Rondell Moore. Those are your 3 starting receivers. Then you look at, I do think that, and I know most Saints fans not going to like this, but they'll respect it because you see it. Bijan Robinson is going to be a bigger dog this year. I think coming into a second, how should I say this, going into his second season, I think he has like one of the better performances, right, out of the running back class. I think he's going to be a top running back. So the way the Saints defensive line is shaping up, the depth that they have, y'all hear me rave about Brian Bruzy on this show a lot. You know, Cam came and sat down right here and talked about some of his goals and some of the things he see for this season. I like the matchup on the defensive line. I like Khalid Saunders and Shepard and all those guys in that rotation because what's going to really matter in this matchup. And then I mentioned Kansas City. We talked about Tyron, Willie Gay as well, right? When I was talking about Game 4 on my list. But Willie Gay and Pete Warner, like those two outside linebackers for outside run. Those guys are speedsters, could tackle, go well sideline to sideline. That's why I think this will be a good game. That especially if we won the first one. Say, for instance, we go on the road and we lose the first one, right? And, of course, I don't want to speak that to existence. But if it happens, and then they got to come here, it's going to be a big game. Listen, I don't know what type of shape this division is going to be in this football season, but I think that'll definitely be a good one to check out. All right, we're getting up that list, baby. We're at number 2, and this is 5 with Fave. We're going over some of the top games that the Saints will be playing this year. Really interesting watches. You know, if you watch a football game, especially if it's a noon game, you want to make sure it's a nice watch. Well, number 2 on my list, you ain't going to have to wait long to get to it, and let's go ahead and get to it. The Dallas Cowboys, September 15th. I think this is going to be a blockbuster. Dallas is a good team. The game will be played in Dallas. So it's going to be in Jerry's world, baby. And in my opinion, one of the Saints' tougher road games. Speaking of road games, the Saints play, as I mentioned, after they go on the road to Dallas, 2 weeks later they go to Atlanta. They go to Kansas City. Then later on in October, they go to Los Angeles. But it's after a 3-game or say a 2-game home stretch. You have, as I mentioned, Los Angeles to play the Chargers. They go to Carolina. Then they play home for another 3 stretches, and then they go to New York. You see, like, New York, we don't know what type of team Carolina's going to be this year. It's a division game. But Dallas, we know CeeDee Lamb is a top receiver in this league. We know Dak Prescott last season was in the MVP conversation. The running game, it's a question mark there, right? We don't know how the running game will look this year. But for the most part, defensively, Michael Parsons, right? Arguably one of the best duos with cornerbacks, you know, with Bland and Diggs. So I look forward to that matchup. That's why it's number 2. You know the attention that the Cowboys bring as far as viewmanship. That's going to be a blockbuster. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good game. Don't know who the winner going to be, right? But it's going to be a good game. Come on now. This is probably a no-brainer. And I'm not saying this is going to be the best game, but this is going to be a game to watch. And before I reveal the game to watch, I want y'all to make sure y'all go ahead and subscribe to Inside the Trenches with Marlon Favorite on YouTube. You can also hit a like button below when you're checking out this full episode. Be sure to go ahead and like the New Orleans Talk Network page. Subscribe to it as well for our full episodes. And get this, y'all. We on demand this entire summer. You can check us out on ESPN 1003.com. Click the On Air app and be sure to click on Inside the Trenches. Check this episode out and many more in case you missed. It'll be on demand for you. You can check it out, go back, comment, etc. And listen, y'all, back to small sliders, right? If you're in the area on the West Bank, the best bank, baby, and you want to make your way to small sliders, come on through and listen. You don't have to sit. We want you to sit down for our local show, right? Every Monday when we're there from 6 to 8 live here on ESPN New Orleans. But feel free to slide on through to Small Sliders, but get that app. Download the Small Sliders app. It's simple. If you go to your Google Play Store, you can go to your Apple Store. Get it. Go ahead and put Small Sliders in. It'll go to your location, put your order in, and you can go on through very conveniently and get your Small Sliders. And we want to thank Small Sliders Marrero again for sponsoring the show. Okay, baby, here it goes. Number 1 on my list, the Denver Broncos. Y'all didn't think I said the first time Sean Payton came back to New Orleans, that wouldn't be a good game. Now, it is on a Thursday night. It is a Prime Video game, but that will be a fun matchup. I mean, it's just everything that goes into it, right? Coach Payton won a Super Bowl here. He coached here for years. They won tons of games. Him and Drew Brees broke all those records. Coach Dennis Allen was on the staff with Drew Brees. He still, and Sean Payton drafted Cam Jordan. So this is a lot of his players are still on this team, right? A good bit of the guys from the Sean era, he comes back to New Orleans. And then my question is, how's the greeting going to be? Are they going to give him a standing ovation for the Super Bowl we had, or will he get some boos? It's good TV to watch, though, whatever it's going to be. It's October 17th. Definitely check that out for sure. Well, that was Five with Fave. You can check out Five with Fave each week right here on New Orleans Talk Network and on the Inside the Trenches app. Inside the Trenches YouTube page. And shouts out to all our sponsors as well. Godwin Realty. We want to shoot out Montero Motors over there, 1512 North Causeway Boulevard. Shouts out if y'all need a car. Come get some of this Marlon money, baby. Montero Motors this entire summer is giving away $500. That's right. You heard it right. $500 is called Marlon money towards your next car. Visit Montero Motors today, 1512 North Causeway Boulevard. And then let them know that you heard about them on Inside the Trenches, baby, with Marlon Favorite. Well, that was Five with Fave. We'll be back next time. Peace and blessings. Hello.